All right. Thanks to Kenny over at Eagle Eye for this idea in the comments of Elvis's video. I just did one of my molds. The leaves, the pivot pins. The molds heat up, the aluminum gets soft, and they strip out over time. Now, Elvis showed a splinter of wood. Even in the other one, which the threads look good, but they were too stripped to hold the pin, the bolt in place. I couldn't get that method to work. Splinters of wood just, I don't know, for whatever reason. So, Kenny mentioned Heli-Coils. Quarter 28 is what you want. And that one wasn't too bad, and it went well. This one, my 11 cavity core mold, there are no threads. I had to, drill in the side, try the lock bolt method. It didn't work great. I even had to drill a divot into the pivot pin to keep it from backing out. It's so bad, you just pluck it out. So what I've done is taken the biggest drill bit I can that I can find that fits in that hole to help center it up. This one took a bigger bit than the other one. And like the post clamp and the vice clamp, they work against each other, so you gotta, finagle till it just slides in nicely. If it's a little off, I'm not gonna, cry too much. These molds are ridiculously expensive, so get it back to working order. I'll be happy. I mean, the Heli-Coil kit is cheaper than making a new mold. The mold blanks are $40. The kit's about 30. Yeah, do the math. These molds, these 11 cavity core molds, are $229 right now. So you bet your butt I'm going to try to save it. I'd rather destroy it trying to save it than the nut. I can make a 6 cavity if I need to. My 6 cavity I just repaired. Nice. Called up Lee. Got the proper thread. I had already figured out, but I wanted to verify. I mentioned, what I was going to do. He goes, permanent fix. I said, why don't you guys do it from the factory, charge a few more bucks. They'd last that much longer. People would be that much more happy. I said, charge another $10, Be a healthy little profit, and the molds will last just that much longer, so it would be worth it. But anyway, I just had to work until I got it centered. Hopefully, because these are wiped right out, that'll be good. 1764 bit for these. Took me forever to find what size to use, because the bit doesn't come in the kit, and the instructions are pretty vague. So I looked down the old speed chart. This in aluminum, 2500 RPM, so that should be good. Oh, he's fancy cutting oil. 3-in-1 I've found actually does pretty good. Alright. No turning back now. There we go. If all goes well, that'll be at least good enough. All right, give me a second to get over to the bench and finish this up. Hate to say it, Murphy struck. Did the whole procedure on video and I went to edit it and gone. Rather frustrated at the moment, but this got the old this is what I did version. It's just what this will be, unfortunately. Kind of sucks, but that's all I can do. Okay, Heli-Coil kit. Well, first off, this is the only place I can find what size drill bit to use, because they don't supply it. They give pictures, got a little vague. They could have just put the drill bit size right here, just to remove all doubt, because that was kind of hard to find, because it's sort of buried. But anyway, now what they don't supply is tap handles or the drill bit. So what they give you is they give you a dozen Heli-Coils. So depending on how much repair you got, if you replace them both, you got 6 molds to repair. If you're just replacing the pivot there, you can do 12. So for $30, you can save a lot of molds. Now, they give you the tap, and they give you installation tools. This one's plastic. Maybe this main tool, it's got a ramped step here. What that does is it goes in here and winds that in. Now once it's in, the Heli-Coil compresses so it is tight around the threads, and you have to unscrew it. So it's only one way, so it can release. And what you do is put that on there, slides in here, actually screws into the end. Once it's in there, you can't pull that out. It's compressed around the threads. So after the tedious part, getting everything, centered, perpendicular, and drilled, tap it, and find the small one. It's perfect for this. My cheapo Horror Fright tap and die kit, paying off. Basically what you do is you put this over the hole and you start screwing it in, and once it's started threading in, if you lift this, it'll lift your piece. You can pretty much get an idea when it's started in, but I suggest going slow, because you want to end up with the Heli-Coil flush with the surface. I mean, eventually it will free itself from this, but it could be down in a little bit. So I would suggest once it starts threading, lift up on this a little bit so that it will, it'll free itself before it's down in there. And then just take this and go in and finish it off right where you want it, and then unscrew it. Now, whoops. The reason you want it flush is because once you drill this and tap it, there's not much aluminum left on, around it. So it's actually only slightly smaller than, the shoulder. So you tighten this down, it's not long before the aluminum gives away, and you end up tight enough to bind your sprue plate. Don't want that. So you really want this to bind against the helicoil. So once you get it, if you go a little too far, one thing I found is, come on, it just fits in there. So there's a good chance you can run it all the way out, retrieve it, and try again. No guarantees. Now, to remove these, it takes another tool. Unfortunately, it's not in the kit. There's a couple different ones. There's one, it looks like a broadhead with two sharpened at, sides. And the point goes in there, and you unwind it. If it doesn't, tap it with a hammer. It bites in, it destroys the helicoil, but you can remove it. The other one's called a tangless removal tool. It's more expensive, more complex. I didn't even look at the price. But it'll go in there and it'll rewind it, even if the tang's gone. And that tang will break off pretty easy if you try to back it out any other way. I don't know. They could make one of these that reverses. You would have to grip really close to the edge. So I don't know if that's even possible. But anyway, once you get that nice flush, so this will bottom out against it, it's good to go. Now, one thing I found, been using this one, at least initially, it will loosen up pretty often. Because instead of steel on aluminum, steel on steel, so you probably don't need the never sees. It probably help. The more I used it, the less often it would loosen up. But it's something to be aware of. It may continue to be an issue. High-time Loctite? I don't know if that's a really good idea, but alternatives, possible solutions. But anyway, yeah, this one was in really bad shape. There were, like I said, there were no threads at all. You could just pull it right out, and right now it's there's no pulling it out. Oh yeah, show you what I had to do to this one. Since there were no threads, it was so bad I had to actually drill cavity, come on, into it so that I could run a screw, drill and tap this, run a screw into the bolt and make it captive. Of course, at that point I had no adjustability on it. It was whatever I ended up with. Not ideal, but it worked. This will be much better. I had to, they were a little rough. I had to take a file, just kind of smooth the rough edges, and then run it into a die and chase the threads before it would screw down in the helicoil. Now, not a problem. It works nicely. So yeah. Now I don't know if I could run a grub screw in there and bind against the helicoil just enough to make a little more friction, if that would keep it from backing out. But the reason I had to do a divot was I tried, just binding it up against the pivot, and it didn't work. I just couldn't get it tight enough. So eventually I stripped out these. That didn't take long. And then I had to drill a little bigger and tap it for another. Just, it's never ending. And that was all I could think of. But thanks to Kenny, I got a permanent solution here. Yeah, you think. Even if you do 6, both posts, 6 repairs for $30. What are 6 molds going to cost you? It's a winning deal at that point, So yeah, I repaired this one too, and this is a $40 blank. But I mean, far less to repair it. Even if I would have bought the kit to repair just this one, that time and effort it took to make this core mold, plus 10 more bucks for the mold and chip, I saved money. Like I said, this one right now is $229, and I saved myself a ton of money over if I had to buy another one. Anyway, yeah, it's pretty much what I got. It's not difficult. Getting all right for drilling, that's the tedious part. And after that, I mean, tapping and running a Heli-Coil in here, less than 10 minutes, ready to go. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend doing it. Like I said, get that puppy flush so that you don't run into those little problems with the sprue flat binding. All right, well, I'll leave you with that. Have a good one. God bless. See you.